Hey everyone, I am back home and I just wanted to come here to give you guys a quick update on how the green stalks are looking real quick. But I have to be fast because we actually saw a bear in here during the day. So I don't want to be out here alone for too long. But I wanted to show you guys how everything is looking. And the green stalks are doing really good. The nasturtium here is flowering and doing well. And the ones back here are doing good as well. And I also want to let you know that GreenStalk is going to have a flash sale for the frost covers. And I always get questions about the frost covers for the GreenStalks when winter comes. So usually they get sold out by then. So I just wanted to tell you now in advance in fall when it's still not too cold that they are having a sale right now and that's your chance to buy it. I might buy another one myself. I have one frost cover and one insect cover, but as you can see I have 4 green stalks. And usually I have been trying to only put on 2, but since I moved here and it's a little colder, I'm considering also getting at least 1 more frost cover or even maybe 2, I don't know. I have to think about that, but just want to let you guys know that it's available in case you want to get one too if you have a green stock, because I always get questions about frost covers when they are sold out already, unfortunately. So go ahead and get one if you need one. I'm going to leave the link in the description box below, and you can still use my code for an extra discount if you spend more than $75. So make sure to take advantage of that as well. So let's take a look at these green stalks real quick before I go inside. So as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, the nasturtium is doing amazing. I'm so proud of it. Just came back from a little piece that I cut through the summer. Is now all nice and beautiful like this. The other things that I have planted on this planter, those are volunteer parsley. They're doing well, but the other things are, or I'm gonna go around actually, the planters are heavy. The broccoli, there you go, purple sprouting broccoli has grown a little bit, not too much, but also has been kind of attacked by some cabbage moth. So just trying to be better at coming here and checking the leaves to take the caterpillars soon. Those 2 down here look good, but this one here got damaged, so I took a couple very little green caterpillars out of it the other day, and I'm trying to check more often to make sure they make it. I want them to get a little bit bigger before the colder temperature comes. This volunteer nasturtium is doing nice as well. This pepper green stalk is just resting. We are not going to plant anything on it right now, but the peppers are trying to grow back. Look at this, since I came back and I cut them, there's lots of new growth. They're not going to be able to make it, I think. There's some peppers, I might harvest a few, but more here. But it's going to get cold soon, and don't think they're going to produce much more. But the green stalks that I might want to get covers are those 2. Look at this parsley. I know I showed that in the other video, but it's looking so lush. I have harvested actually after that day. I took a lot of things out down there, and now it's looking out beautiful and lush again. Another one growing here on the side looking good. This basil is also growing here. There's a volunteer nasturtium, some lemon balm. I cut some lemon balm the other day for tea and it just grew back too. So they're kind of liking this shady spot over here, which is nice. And these plants over here are still doing well. This green stalk here, the lettuces are finally starting to grow a little bit more, which is good. And the spinach that we just transplanted together with that purple broccoli over there is doing good as well. Not too much growth, but at least it's looking nice and lush green, so we're happy about that too. All right, now I'm gonna go inside because I don't want to be out here alone for too long. The other day when I came back from Astoria, I actually did not have a chance to divide my Dahlia tubers. They have been in a box since I got here. I have just added them to this container with a little bit of cocoa coir that I had from last year. And I put a lid on so they don't shrivel. So I left them on that crate for about 24 hours to let them dry out a bit. And then I put them in this bin just to hold in here until I had time to divide. So we're going to divide it right now, and I'm going to show you how I plan to store them for the winter this season. All right, so we're going to work on this here in the garage real quick. I do not have as many as I had last year. And if you watched my last video, you saw that I ended up with very few Dahlia tubers compared to last year this time. But I'm going to try to save as much as I can. I'm actually going to put them here in this cloth. Take a look at the ones that I have here. Some of them I saw in that one had a little bit of mold, so good thing I'm getting to do this today. It's not recommended that you leave them. Oh, my little cat's coming. She's gonna be in the video. All right, this is Gypsum. She's been really enjoying the new house as well. Have her down here, see where she's gonna stay. And let's see if I remember what I was saying. Oh, it's not recommended that you do what I did. I just did this because I didn't have time. You should divide your tubers or put them in proper storage after they're dry once you dig them. So usually dry them for 12 to 24 hours and then you would already store them properly. I did not have time to do that and I put them in here, and maybe some of them have suffered, but hopefully most of them have not, and we'll see what we can do. If you missed the last video, I have left the Dahlia tubers that I had in the plot in the ground there to see if they'll get a little bigger, since I had such bad luck with the ones from my backyard. I had many varieties in there that did not produce tubers, but I still, have a good amount. There's a lot of them that are kind of rotting, so sorry, I still have a good amount. At least it's not nothing, it's better than nothing having this many over here. Once you divide them, you end up with a little less than you start with, because not all of these tubers are going to have eyes that are viable, but I'll take what I can get. We're going to be happy with what we can have. And I just recently watched a video from Christine Albrecht from KA's Dahlias, and I saw that she stores her tubers in a similar setup like this with some plastic bin and she uses peat. I have cocoa coir in here. That's how I did it last year and it worked out well. And she does a lasagna method. So last year I stored them flat in a container like in a tray like this with the cocoa coir, and then put a cloth over it. I can link the video of me dividing them last year over here too, so you can watch if you're curious. But this time, I want to try to keep them to this bin if I can, and I'll try to do the lasagna method that she talks about. So the first thing I'm going to do is to dump all of this in here, so I can add as I go once I have the tubers, divided. Oh, I lost some. And it fell in a bin over here. Coincidence. Okay, I can save some too. So I have a lot of moisture in here, and I'm not going to wet this. Last year I added a little bit of water. I'm going to leave it dry this time because these tubers feel a little moist still, and we'll see how it goes. And I'll keep checking them. If I think they're drying too much or shriveling, I will come here with a water bottle and spritz some water in it, spray some water. Sorry, I'm going to put a little bit in the bottom for the first layer at least. And then we're going to start dividing. Okay, so there's many videos online on how to divide Dahlia tubers. Feel free to watch a more detailed one if you want. I went over in more detail last year. Actually, this one is better. Some of the eyes are hard to see, but because I've done this for the past couple of years, I kind of find it's easy for me to identify them. But if you have a hard time or have never divided Dahlia tubers, it's better to do it when they're a little bit cleaner than this. But let me go grab a Sharpie, because I want to write the name of the variety on the tubers so I don't get them all confused. And then I'll be right back. All right, I found a brown Sharpie in here, and I brought the camera a little closer so you guys can see what I'm doing, hopefully. So let's start with this first clump over here that still has the name of the mother tuber last year. You see it has Cornell Browns. This is a tuber that I planted this year. And from this tuber, I got all of these other new tubers. But you can see there, they're small and skinny. They're not as big and plump as this one. So they didn't stay as long as in the ground as they should, or didn't have the great Dahlia growing conditions this year. A lot of people struggled from what I've been seeing. So we're gonna start with this. That's a bit easy one. I can see a couple eyes here already. I'm going to actually mark the eyes with the Sharpie so you can see it too. There are actually 3 eyes on this tuber. I can do it over here. 1, 2, and 3. Maybe the brown is not the best, but here we go. I don't know if it's actually easier or harder. And I am going to actually cut here, and let these 2 tubers stay together, since they are kind of skinny. So usually I like to see which ones are the easiest first to cut, And I also don't have my pruner that I actually like the most. I can't find it. Hopefully I didn't leave it in Astoria because I couldn't find it since I came back. But one thing actually, it would be best if we split this in half. So let's do it properly. Okay, I'm gonna take the rest of this top off. And now I can see there's lots of moisture on this tuber still. And you see how it's kind of rotted in the middle? So that's why I kind of wanted to divide now too. I could have stored them as a clump, which I thought originally I was going to do. But since there's a rot spot here in the middle, I wanted to kind of clear them off as soon as I can. So I'm going to try to just cut this in half first. That's the easiest way usually. Keeping in mind that I want to keep these guys together. So I'm going to see how I can do that. Sometimes, they can't divide exactly in half. There's not that precise. But I'm going to do my best here to just separate into two parts. Okay, not too bad. And then here, you can see that it's okay. It's not too rotted all the way down, which is a good sign. So, okay, I see another one here that has an eye that I can take it individually. There's another one here that I could take over here, but I'm going to start with this original ones here. So it's a little dirty. There's some dirt on my dahlias. Could have washed them better, but sometimes it's hard because they have dirt like all in the betweens of it, so it's a little harder. But see if I can get a little closer. There we go. Here's the one with the 3 eyes, and I'm going to try to keep these two tubers together. I'm going to get my, gonna get my clippers and cut. Those are a bit big. I prefer my smaller ones to do this, but that's what I have here right now, and this has to be done. So here we go. So I got a third tuber, skinny one in the back that I might leave it attached to. But this is a clump that I'm going to leave together. And I'm going to write their name here. This one is a Cornell Bronze. So I'm going to write that right in the tuber. I found that was easier for me to identify things if I do this. I can do just bronze. Okay, Cornell Bronze and this string. All right, so I'm going to repeat all this process with all of the other clumps. Let me see how many I can get from this clump, just so I can at least finish this one. I'm going to work on this one right now. I'm going to take this one out that has all these eyes over here. There's a really big one. It is, when you first take them, they're easier to see because they're still a little swollen. So that's why it's good to actually also do it at this time if you can, and also saves you space. So this one actually came off very easily. I barely cut it and it just came off my hands. You can clearly see an eye right over here, you see, in the tuber. So we're gonna write it again. Where's my Sharpie? I'm sure it's just gonna do CB because I know that I only have Cornell Bronze. Easier than having to write the whole thing. And I'm going to put a note on my computer that I actually did this so I don't forget. And then also have this video as reference. So here it is. So Cornell Bronze, that can go together with this guy right over here. Okay, so now I have still these pieces left. And even though it looks like a lot of tubers, these tubers are very skinny. So there's a chance that they could just shrivel in storage. So I'm a little worried about it. But this one came out too. But we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen in the spring. I'm going to put it in here and then label everything at once when I finish dividing all of this. But this guy here, I don't see an eye. Oh, is this an eye? Yeah, maybe it's an eye right here. There's this big tuber that I think I'm going to try to save the mother tuber. I might leave them all sort of close like this. I'm going to cut this rotten part out because last year I lost some for that. Oh, there's more rot here. Oh, that's not good. Oh, maybe this mother tuber is not good anymore. Okay, so let's try to at least get this tuber with an eye, or as many eyes as I can. So I'm going to cut like this because I see there's an eye over here. There's another possible eye here. I'm not really sure. And there's one more here, I think. So I'm going to leave this one like this and see how they're going to do. I like to cut the tail of it too, so it's not too big. There we go. And this one, see this rot spot over here? I don't want to chance it. Since I'm leaving them all together, I don't want one of them to rot and then possibly rot everything else. So let me put that in there. And I might have misspelled Cornell in here. There's 2 L's, sorry about that. And let's see what I can do with these guys here. Sometimes they're in a funny shape like this. It's a little bit more complicated. I almost think that I might leave this one as is, since it's kind of flat and I could store it. I'll just cut these roots out of the way. And there you go. This one is broken. You can see the neck's broken. So there's 3 parts of the tuber that needs to be good for it to stay for next year. The body, the neck, and the crown. It's hard to see a neck, I guess, on this Cornell bronze. So, but technically there's a little neck in between the tuber and the crown over here. Some of them are more pronounced than others. There's a neck. You see how it is in here, maybe? But it can't be broken. Sometimes when you moving them, there's 1 or 2 that the tuber is loose, and that's why I took that one off. They won't survive, most likely, if the neck's broken, so we gotta cut that out. And then I'm gonna cut this again and try to take this rot spot out again. Hopefully I'm not cutting any eyes on the other side. I think I'm good. And that's it. We're gonna save this whole thing together just for insurance. Then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe this many possible plants from that tuber next year. And depending on how it's looking, I might be able to divide this in the spring, but I'll leave as is for now. This guy here is not good. Unfortunately, I have to put it on the side. I had another Cornell bronze, this one over here, that's full of the cocoa core, so it's going to be a little hard for you guys to see the eyes. So I'm just going to go ahead and divide this to the best I can, and I'm going to speed up the video since I already showed how to do this one. And then I'm going to divide the other ones and show you how I'm going to store them in this bin over here. All right, so this one was actually pretty hard to divide. I decided to leave this whole clump together because I don't want a chance to lose too many more. Oh, this one has 2 holes. I'm not sure if this is good. But this guy could have an eye or not. It's hard to tell. I might save it too. But let me show you how I'm going to just layer them together on this lasagna method over here. Okay, so here's our bin. I'm going to put them like this, laying down next to each other. Well, maybe I put these big ones first. Maybe this one and this other one that I decided to not divide. Then I'm gonna go ahead and put another layer to cover them of this cocoa core, or it can be peat moss, and some people do only wood shavings. I'm gonna do this because I already have, and it worked for me last year. But I'm just gonna put another layer in there, and then I'm gonna come in and store my other tubers. They're technically not supposed to touch. Let me put a little bit more there. Some of them that had a little leg facing up like this guy over here. I might need some more. Let's do that. But I'll do my best here. When you keep some together like this, guys, it can be a little bit more difficult, but we're gonna try anyway. The super skinny ones, you know, actually I don't know. I'm gonna try to put some of the skinny ones into saran wrap, even though I don't like using plastic, but I heard that it will help preserve the moisture. So let me just show you guys how we do. This is actually how the National Dahlia Society recommends that you store your dahlia tubers. You just go and saran wrap, and you just wrap them like this. I'm not gonna keep them together with these other ones in the same bin. I'll keep them in a separate spot. But I'm gonna do that with this for insurance too, to see how that's going to do. And maybe with this other one that is super skinny. as well. I'm just gonna label it and wrap it in saran wrap. So the guideline is that you can do that if it's thicker than a pencil. If it's thicker than a pencil, you can save them in saran wrap. If it's thinner than a pencil, the chances are very hard that they will not shrivel, that they will survive. But this one is thicker, at least this part, so we're gonna try. So 2 of them I'm gonna go in saran wrap. And I might pre-sprout them in the winter if they start looking like they're gonna die or something, so I don't lose all my chances. I'm gonna add another layer. And now I can fit all of them better other than having the clumps together, which half of them were sticking out of this. But if I cut them and lay them out nicely, I have more space to leave them all covered. So I just have to divide the other tubers. They're not that big. They're all like this. And I'll label it and put them all down here as well. And since I have still the ones from the plot that I have to dig, I am going to plan to do a more how-to video other than this, just documenting, but I needed to get this done. So actually, can't lose any of the tubers. Let me just also label this and put in here, put saran wrap. So I'm just showing you guys quickly how I'm doing this right now with the ones I have with a little bit of time constriction. And since I already kind of waited too long to do this, I'm not going to do the how-to with this batch. But once I harvest the other ones from the plot, hopefully they are bigger and easier to see. I'll do a more instructional video that you guys can have for reference in the future if you're interested on cutting and dividing your own dahlia tubers too. But for now, let's just speed this up. Alright, so I'm all done. It's a little messy over here. There's lots of remaining things. The tubers that had some holes in it or were mushy, they were rotten, unfortunately. Most of my labyrinth dahlias were rotted. So I'm a little bit sad about that, but we'll see what happens next year. This one I didn't label. I'll save this one anyway, even though it's skinny. Let's see what happens. And I didn't count how many I ended up with because I started already layering that, but it's okay. When we do our check in about a month from now, probably when I'm going to be doing the other ones, the next batch, we'll see how many we'll have there. So now I'm going to clean this up, and this is all going to go to the compost. Actually, I don't have a compost yet. But these are not going to be saved. I'm going to put them in the garden somewhere out there. Find a home for it somewhere under some leaves maybe. And for this, guys, I'm going to put a lid on, and I'm going to leave it right here in the garage. Our garage is heated as well, but it's not as warm as the house. So I'll just keep monitoring and seeing how those guys are doing. For now, I am closing this fully because there was some moisture in the tubers, and my medium, this cocoa core, was completely dry, so hopefully they will absorb some of the moisture of the dahlias too. And I'm going to, for now, keep those somewhere in this space. So I'll probably just put this in a shelf over here by a window, so it's a little cooler than by closer to the house. And we'll keep checking on them and see how they will do over the winter. But it's recommended that if you can, you store your dahlias in between 40 and 50. That will be the best. If they get warmer than that, in the 60s, they can start sprouting. So ideally, if you can leave them close to the lower 40s, that would be great, which is also sort of a refrigerator temperature, so you can have a little space to leave them in your fridge. Like if you only have a few like this, you can do that. Actually, I might put this in my fridge actually. This three only inside of a little other baggie to see how they do. Last year, I did not have a fridge and I had to keep them in my basement that was also heated, and they did well. So it's a gamble, but I'm going to keep checking on them. Hopefully every 2 weeks, if not at least once a month until the end of the winter. And we're gonna hope that most of them survive so I can plant them all in the garden next year. So thank you so much for watching today. If you have any questions about anything, please let me know in the comment section down below. Also, I want to thank you so much, everyone that has helped me with the Buy Me a Coffee. I really appreciate you guys. It's very, very helpful, especially in this moment of transition for us. So I really, really appreciate you. So thank you again. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.